Okay, so guys, on today's session, we are going to be understanding the graphs in a React application. Yeah, and the outlines which we are going to cover the understanding React parameters, query string, how to redirect a user, implementation of page not found, and nested route. So though I'm not going to cover all that, but that is everything we're going to learn about routing in a React application. So that being said, you can see on my project, I have my nav where I have my li. You guys know that this already because of you already know li and all those HTML link stuff, how to and get to different pages and stuff like that. So first of all, React is a library. It's not like a complete framework like other frameworks, JavaScript framework like Angular, Vue, and the rest. So in order to use routing in a React application, you have to actually install a router library. So we'll start by installing React router DOM. So I'll just do npm install.
This meeting is being recorded.
So without the installing React router, you can't be able to use React router on a React application because the application will not recognize the router component that you're trying to use or anything of that. So that's why we have to install the React router DOM in our application. I hope you guys can hear me. So we are waiting for installation to. Sorry, it's a little bit slow though the poor network, but it should be done soon. So we have successfully installed the React router DOM in our React application. So right now we can go ahead and use the React router library. So first of all, what we'll do is we have to go to our index.js file, import browser router. Without this browser router, we can't not still be able to use the React router DOM which we installed because we have to wrap our app.js around it so that it can recognize any route and also know that okay, this application we are using router in it. So anywhere I see React router component, allow it to work because we have installed it, and yeah, we want to use it. So on our app.js, we pass in the components. So let's just wait for this to save. I don't know what's happening to my studio. It's taking time to save files. I think you guys have to meeting. I need to close VS and reopen it. I don't know why it's taking this time to save file. So I think okay, it's saved now. So after this, the next step is using the route component itself. Because if you go to our page, our project here, there is an error. I think I need to close this laptop. My VS Studio Code. Okay, sorry for that. So now, the next step is importing our routes. Sorry, not here, Jerry. On the app.js, which is the entry file whenever a React application is running. So at the top before our navbar, we import it. Then below our navigation bar, we have to now use the components. Now, on this component, we are going to pass into props the path and component itself. Now, this path is what we pass to the URL, the test URL. Whatever component name or path that is being passed here, that is what the browser should load. Then on the component, what we are going to pass here now is the render page of the path which we have specified. Now, the first thing we need to pass is our slash. This slash is the first page, which is the home, and then we're now passing our home component here. Now, if we go to our browser tab, I did something. No, please I don't, let us head over to React app documentation. You guys can't hear me. Can you hear me now? Can you guys hear me now?
We can hear you.
Okay. Guys, I'm trying to solve this error I'm seeing here because I don't know why that is showing because I did what I'm supposed to do. So that is what I'm trying to Hello guys, I don't really know where this error is coming from. I don't really know. So this is part of the experience on application. Sometimes you are doing it right and you don't know. It's actually a good experience so that you guys can actually know how to debug React application. Now, I've been able to rectify the route, but at some point, the pages are not rendering, which I'm still trying to figure out why the pages are not rendering. Because at this point where you import your route from React Router DOM, passing it your part and your component. So it's supposed to like this part now. You can see on the URL here is products I passed to it. So once you click on product and it navigates to that product, the product page, which is here, is supposed to render on the view so that you can see what is in there. But now, at some point, I don't know why it isn't showing. So we are still going to, it's still part of the process because it happens to developers. Sometimes bugs come up, and so what really makes you a good developer is being able to debug it and rectify where you did wrong and correct yourself. It's not like you don't really know what you are doing or what, it's just you being able to debug and rectify your issues. That is part of the process. I hope you guys can hear me. Can you guys hear me? Or I've been talking to myself all this while.
Yes, so I do. I just joined, but I can hear you. I don't know that. I can hear you.
So sorry, I've been able to figure out why it wasn't working. So though you can use components too, but I don't know why the component at this point is not trying to render the screen. So I will just go back to the basic using the element part. So moving forward, let's now route our home page so that we can be able to, I'll just copy this and paste it. No, I think at the bottom, yeah. Or no, let's just put this at the top. Let's just say it makes more sense. Home components from top to down. So now, if we go to our home page, you can see that in our home components, what is there is home, and what we are actually seeing on the screen is the home. When we go to the product component, we are still seeing products and things inside products. Now, using that component, I was trying to show you guys something, but I don't know why that component isn't working. There is something that happens sometimes on a React application. Yeah, but if you have a product and a home, now it kind of renders both the home and the product and these products the same time, and you'll be like, why is this thing supposed to show just product page? It's not supposed to also render home page. Why is both of them showing? That's because if you look at the URL, you can see that this URL now starts with a backward slash before the product. And on our route, you can see here that this is a backward slash as well that identifies the home component and then the product. So it's trying to render both the home and the component and the product component at the same time, because you're actually passing two routes, which is the slash, which identifies the home, and the product, which identifies the actual component you are going to. So to solve that issue, there are two ways you can actually solve it. One is passing the exact prop on passing the exact prop to the router component. Now, this tells the route that if I click on home, the only thing I want to see is all the information on home, no other thing. If I click on products, the only thing I want to see is product information. I don't want to see the home information that was showing before and all those stuff. But now, the exact have actually solved the problem. But there's something we call repeating yourself. Abi, how will I put it? That now, assuming you have 1 million routes on this component now, on this project, we now start passing exact on all the routes. It will solve our issue, but now we are repeating the exact multiple times. Instead, we can just use the switch component that also solves the issue. Are you guys hearing me?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Oh, yeah. So now we are going to remove this route here and replace it with switch. And then we are going to import it also at the top. So with this switch component, no. I think there is a problem somewhere. No, I don't know why this is throwing error, which is not supposed to. No, let's go to our React documentation. Guys, funny thing which I just found out now, using the latest React now, you no longer need the switch, and that is the reason why I think it's showing this error. So you have to use the route which we are using before. The route, you can see the difference between the one we are actually using to render the component. There is no X at the ending, while the one that wraps it around, there is an X. So with this one now, we don't also need the exact, we don't also need the switch, which I was trying to show you guys. With this route that wraps around the other route, we can be able to still give us what we want. I think that's why when I click on home, it's just showing me home. When I click on product, it's just showing me product. Assuming we went back to the lower version of React, with switch now, we would have been able to solve that issue. So at this point, I will wait for a question if there's anything you guys didn't understand why taking this. I'm waiting for you guys. Please, this is an interactive class where I will really need you guys to talk. If there is nothing I say that doesn't make sense to you guys, or if you didn't understand.
Hello, mom. So I don't really
I
have a
can hear.
question though, but you you did something a while ago. I've been watching it in the video, but I don't know how to do it. Like when you wanted to change that route to switch, like from the closing tag. If I want to do my, we have to like change it to switch on the closing tag, then come back to the closing tag and change the switch. But you did yours.
I didn't get that.
Okay, please go back to the code.
Okay.
It's
So
not
you say?
something serious. It's not something serious. Like when you wanted to change these routes, the opening tag to switch. So like
Okay.
you change it, you highlighted the closing tag and the closing tag at once, then you change it to switch. Although I've been seeing that for a while, but you did yours
Okay, your
once.
question is it how I was able to change the two at once,
Yeah, at the
or what?
same time. Yes.
Okay, what I just did, I highlighted the routes. You can see both have
Yeah,
been highlighted. So
yes.
I'm using a Mac. So on my end, I use Command D. But if you're using a HP laptop that is not Mac,
Windows.
just Control D, yes, and you'll be able to highlight both and you can change whatever thing you want to change.
All right, thanks.
Okay. So now again, I also want you guys to understand why here on the navbar there was an A tag here, but I had to change it to links. That's because if you use an A tag to actually, now let me take it back to the tag
That's not
so that I'll show you.
your voice is broken.
You say my voice is breaking. Sorry for that. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? So now, if we go here, you can see that when we click on home, it's still doing the same thing links is doing. But now when we inspect our project and go to our network tab, now I click on home, you will notice that the page is reloading and then now loading some things on the background. Okay, now let's say this project now, we have some API calls we have made, or how will I call it? Some libraries we imported on other components, on other places which we are using on the project. Now, each time we click on home or product component and the page reloads, now it will have to now load everything again, all the libraries and all those stuff, and that is not really making sense because now it will make the page to slow down a bit, and two, it will suck enough data because we are reloading everything afresh. But using link, which we used before, the page don't need to reload. Once you just click on the link or the tab which you want to open, it just loads that tab and only loading the informations, the library or things you imported on that particular component. It won't import anything from the other components which you are not seeing on your view. Let's say now you click on home, it will not load things you imported on product because you are not on product screen. But when you go to product, it will only load things on product which you need. It will not load things on home which you don't need, except maybe you are coming from home to product. That's on a different case. So that is what links help us solve in a React application. So guys, I think at this point, I really need to allow you guys to practice this, which I've actually cover up for today. How to install a React router in your React application, how to set up your routes, and every other thing. Meanwhile, I said I was going to cover route parameter, query string, how to redirect a user, implementation of page not found, and nested routing. But I think on our next class, we'll just move over to route parameter and query string, because I wouldn't want to jam pack, or how will I call it, you guys on more things at a time. I really want you guys to absorb it a bit by bit, so that you guys can really understand and follow along with me. So after this session, I will still be open for any questions or anything you guys didn't understand while taking the class. So any question at this point, or anything you guys still want me to explain? I'm waiting for you guys to say something. Hello.
Okay, so thank you. So I think if there are no questions, you can actually just round up the class right now.
Okay. Guys, so there is something I really want to point out why before we leave. So it's just kind of like a summary. Why going through this course? You people, so that I encounter some couples of questions. I mean, some couples of bugs on my end. So it's not really like I like say I don't know what I was doing. You can actually use components instead of elements, but mind you, is kind of like a, how would I call it? It's kind of like or let me just say I wasn't updated on the latest React release, which was just released. So, but I had to go back and read on the documentation, and I discovered that on the latest React, because I think on this project I'm using the latest React, which is version 16. Yeah. So you don't need to use components anymore, and the switch. Now we now use route and elements. Both are used on the version 16. Sorry, version 6, not 16. Sorry, guys. On the version 6 of React. But if you go back to the previous version, like 5, 4, and so, you can use components and you can use switch and the exact, which I was trying to show you guys. But now on this latest release, they say we don't need to use it anymore. We can just use routes and elements and solve what the other ones were also solving. So that's why I was having those errors, because I was not aware of it and I was still using them. But as I went back to the documentation and I now discovered that you have seen that those errors are gone. So even as a programmer we are, it is always good for us to always check documentation of what we're actually using to develop our project, to always be updated so that we won't encounter such errors like this. So that is what I really want to summarize on today's class. So for that, I think today's class has come to an end, and I really appreciate you guys for your audience and your patience with me so far. And I hope on the next class we'll do much better. Thank you all.